NFR Extra follows all your favorite cowboys, interviews legends of rodeo, and talks to the best of country music. Follow Nevada Caldwell, Ryland Bentley, and Steve Goddard every week as they delve deep into the stories behind the road to gold in Vegas at the National Finals Rodeo. It's revealing, comedic, and sometimes emotional. Find it on Spotify or anywhere you listen to podcasts. NFR Extra. All dirt, all rodeo, all year.
Dozen years now I've been going to Cowboy Christmas every year and just being so impressed with it and the crowds there and the exhibitors and everything that's going on, and to have a chance to put our name on it or be associated with it is just something that we're really looking forward to. You're catching me. I just came out of a meeting with it. I mean, we're bringing on a new ad agency. We think this is a tremendous opportunity for the Cowboy Channel, of course, to spread the word about our channel and our programming and our app and everything else. But to have it, the Cowboy Channel, Cowboy Christmas is, something I'm really pinching myself about.
NFR Extra, episode 90. In the past, fans had few chances to watch rodeo throughout the year, much less live. Thanks to Patrick Gotsch and the Cowboy Channel, you now can watch rodeo year-round. The Cowboy Channel Plus app keeps fans up to date with their favorite PRCA competition and athletes, as well as the behind-the-scenes access to live stream rodeo events for subscribers to the channel's premium content. With us today is the man that got it all started, Patrick Gotsch.
So that whole thing with people watching rodeos now during the COVID stuff, it's kind of like a throwback to the Roy Rogers days. You know what I'm saying? To where like all the little kids in the city wanted to have a horse and a dog and just go beat the bad guys. So now when you had people locked down, you can't go out of your house. You can't go do this. You can't go do that. You see again, the iconic American cowboy that kind of doesn't live by the rules, that kind of is living their life. They're kind of out there just doing whatever mysterious lifestyle that it is. So there's always, I think, an allure to that. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And then so now you can go to that and you can watch this deal to where like, oh my God, these guys are out there doing all this crazy stuff right now. And then you look at that. And so I think that that's a way to get people drawn in and to give them a platform. Because if you really watch this too, there's a lot of education that goes involved in that. Not blatant education, but there's kind of a lot of like subliminal education, I think.
You think about when you're wanting to watch rodeos, right? And this is, I think, a lot of content providers have learned this, specifically in the sports world, is that the fan just wants what's going on the court, in the dirt, on the grass, whatever that is. As long as they can see it and they can, depict everything that's happening for the competition, they're happy. I mean, if you can add more bells and whistles, fine. Man, the fact that you got to watch rodeos last year during that time.
They want to hear the announcer. They want to see the crowd. They want to see what it's like to be at that rodeo in July. Because I'm sure Texas is hot. You go to the Northwest, you go to you go to parts of the Midwest, and maybe it's not that hot. So that's kind of a draw to those people too. Like, you know what we should do? We should get out of here. We should go there someday.
You two have grown up in this universe, but think about from a producer standpoint with cameras and microphones, how do you capture the entire essence of what's going on in that community for not just the rodeo, but everything, right? Like there's so much that goes on that how do you capture it? And that's
you got to have boots on the ground though too. That's where you do have to have, I think,
your mediators or whatever.
Yes.
Well, because you think about just like the after party lives of a rodeo, when you go to the local restaurant, bar, whatever, it could even be the local Western store, and you can tend to have a whole crowd of people. Like you just gather just because we're all in the same place.
You start talking about Vegas, NFR, and as I've learned going to the rodeos, what I always loved is like whenever you leave, you try to go hit what's going on in that town, right? The cool bars, the restaurants, etc. You gotta imagine how starving the rodeo fan is for coming to Vegas and then leaving Thomas Mack Center or a satellite feed and then hitting Vegas, man, after like this craziness of not being able to do that for, well, it seems like forever, but years.
It has been forever. And that's kind of the thing that I like about these environments. You know what I mean? Like to where I think that they're really accommodating. Some of the rodeos that you go to, they shut streets down to where it's like, hey, there's a little, they'll have a little beer garden here, they'll have a little carnival down here, so you can kind of walk around and kind of mill parts of these towns, some of them, not all of them, And you can walk into a Western store with a cold drink in your hand and, hey, how you doing? Not, as opposed to, you can't have that in here. They kind of understand that, so they appreciate that, so they embrace the economic impact that these people have. That's the same way as Las Vegas is, to where I'm not so worried about what you're doing as far as, you're not doing really anything bad. We're just happy to have you. You know what I mean? Thanks for coming to our town. Thanks for coming into my store. Thanks for coming, whatever. So and now, especially after, like you said, NV, seemingly endless time period of being locked up and put away and not being able to go out, how many businesses and how many people are going to come together and just be glad to see one and the other?
The energy is going to be second to none. You can't there's no way you can compare it to anything else. I think everything going forward is this, I guess, probably a new bar that gets raised for everybody, even like for Cowboy Channel and what they've done with PRCA and last year. I mean, I'm pretty sure they thought they were, at least in the back of their mind, like, OMG, what are we going to do? There's no rodeos. And as you started off this, it's like, well, the cowboy doesn't really necessarily roll by the rules,
It was a sense of normalcy wherever they were at and wherever they were partaking in rodeo.
Enjoy our conversation with founder and president of the Cowboy Channel and RFD-TV, Patrick Gotsch. Listen to the end for Last Call with Steve and his good buddy, NFR announcer, Andy Seiler.
Second in popularity to only the show at the Thomas and Mack Center, Cowboy Christmas is indescribable. So I'm not going to try, but here are some who will.
A confluence of Americana.
It's not a Kodak moment, it's a Kodak hour.
NFR shopping in Vegas. It doesn't get any better than that.
Well, sit back and let me show you.
This Christmas shopping, a rite of passage, began in 1986 with 50 vendors. Today, more than 330 exhibitors sell more than $15 million worth of the finest and most diverse Western goods to over 250,000 fans annually.
How do they do that?
If you're a fan of the Western lifestyle, the Cowboy Christmas exhibitors offer a broad spectrum of products that will fulfill all your Christmas needs.
Cowboy Christmas exhibitors sell everything from handmade pottery and crafts to furnishings, original artwork, and Western wear. Whether you're shopping for something for the house, for yourself, a gift for a friend or family, you will find it all here.
Las Vegas, the NFR, Cowboy Christmas. Doesn't get any better than that.
We're back, and we don't want you to miss anything. Make NFRExperience.com your link to hear it first. You will get info on NFR events, Vegas concerts, insider tips, and more, all directly to your inbox. Just go to NFRExperience.com, verify your email address, and pick the experiences you want to hear more about. And new this year, we will send you customized announcements and special offers directly to your mobile number now and throughout the NFR. Check out NFRExperience.com for details.
Howdy, I'm Bob Tallman, and this is NFR Extra.
Patrick Gotsch, the man behind RFD-TV and the Cowboy Channel, both owned by Rural Media Group, was born and raised on a farm outside of Elkhorn, Nebraska. Patrick knows firsthand the role rural America plays in all Americans' lives. His father, Pat, was a farmer. He grew corn and raised cattle and had a feedlot as well as 2 other farms. Patrick's perspective is the cowboy values are essential and mainstream media doesn't cover them. The best memory a kid has is of the country fair, and now RFD-TV and the Cowboy Channel bring viewers the country fair 365 days a year. Patrick Gotsch, welcome back to NFR Extra, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm honored to be back.
Last time we had you on, you were getting ready for and I think the rodeo fans were amped up and everything else going on in the pandemic. You and Cowboy Channel were preparing for the National Finals Rodeo in Arlington, Texas. Clearly, you put on incredible coverage for that event. Talk to us about that experience, the fun part, the challenges. Now that you had some time to let it all digest, what was that experience like covering your first NFR?
Well, I think I even said on your broadcast that we were approaching this as being the most important broadcast in our company's 20-year history. That we were really going to be judged on that, especially being compared to CBS Sports and how it's been done in the past. So we put everything we had into it. I mean, 2 sky cams and ghost cam and brought in the very best, crew and production people. And then of course the on-air talent. And it was magical. I mean, it worked and worked so well. I'm really proud of the guys, really proud of Jeff Metters and everybody that put this together. And it was a broadcast that was kind of like, this is the day that our network was really born when we showed that. And then the audience response was just off the charts. I mean, we received tens of thousands of emails from rodeo fans that just said, thank you. Thank you for the coverage. They loved having it earlier in the evening where we brought in a lot of East Coast people. They loved having limited commercial interruptions where we never left the broadcast. They loved that the broadcast was actually live and there was no tape delay. And, I got to thank the Las Vegas folks and PRCA for letting us try, some new things. So it just, whatever a perfect storm is, it turned out perfect. But now we got to equal that or even go better for the return to Vegas.
Clearly that's something that's big on everyone's hit list. But I want to go back. One of the touches I like that you did, and this is where you get to, you all have the control of this ship that you do, whether it be Cowboy Channel, RFD-TV. I like the touch that you asked the fans that were watching to email you personal.
Right.
What were some of the things that stick out that some of the fans sent to you that maybe you were never thinking before or that have added to what you're possibly planning on this year?
For the NFR broadcast?
Yep. Yeah.
It's really been our secret for 20 years. I've always listened to the audience. We've always had this connection with the audience. And I've kind of developed a knack where, if people are being straight and if that's something that other people are really seeing and tell the difference between that and maybe somebody that's putting something out on the internet and says, write this guy and tell him to do this. But this really has been a network for the audience, first with RFD-TV and now with the Cowboy Channel. We're following the same format that we did with RFD-TV and really listening and seeing what folks are missing and how they'd like things to be presented. So, I know this is a podcast, so I can't really hold up anything, but we got binders and binders and binders, sitting right next to my desk of people that, just wrote in. We break it down last night. And then this is just one of the small ones and what I'm showing now is just comment after comment after comment. And not only do I read everyone, but we pass them around to everybody. And our best ideas have come from the audience. I'm not that smart.
Yeah, but man, Patrick, when you think about customer service, you're doing the one thing that makes just about every business successful is you're listening to your customer, and then you actually put some action item into that so you can move forward with your business. That's
you awesome. Talk about our biggest asset is our audience that we've built up, and the loyalty that we have, and our audience gets it that we're for real. That I'm basically a farm kid with a television network that loves rodeo and they see the passion. Our secret ingredient for both our channels is the passion that our people have and the knowledge that they have. I mean, to have Jeff Metters and Butch Knowles and Joe Beaver and Amy Wilson and Janie Johnson and Justin McKee and Steve Kenyon and everybody else. I mean, these guys just they've really drank the Kool-Aid and it's fun. It's fun to come in every day. And then when they go out on location to a rodeo or to a farm show or something like that, people walk up and shake their hands and give them a thumbs up and say, thanks. What you guys are doing important. What we really heard this last year that really touched me was that people over and over said, you got us through COVID. Rodeo got us through COVID. we could come in at night at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central, and you had a live rodeo on. And for a couple hours, it felt like, it took their mind off of everything else that was going on. And that means so much to us.
Yeah. It's all started with Cave Creek, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Seems like forever ago.
We found a rodeo somewhere that was doing something and put them on. And, it turned out to be a blessing. We met some great people at some of the smaller and medium-sized rodeos and kept it going. I think that's one of the reasons, we haven't talked since the NFR, but we actually doubled the numbers that CBS Sports would get, comparing apples to apples, their ComScore numbers. We more than doubled it. And then on the last night, we hit the 10th performance, we had 1.3 million watch. I mean, those numbers are unheard of. And I think a lot of that has to do with having a network now that's dedicated to rodeo and all Western sports, doing something every night, keeping people informed, letting them get to know. And Randy Bernard, always impressed upon me that we got to make these cowboys and cowboy girls stars. They're great people. They have wonderful stories, and that's just not coming through on a once a year broadcast for 8 seconds. So people really got to know them, and I think momentum built and built and built. And then, of course, it was moved to Texas, and it was kind of different. But it was neat to see the heat maps every night. It was in the center of the country to start with, in the mountain states, and then slowly each night it started getting hotter and hotter toward the East Coast. So I think a lot of people discovered the NFR or maybe stay tuned that maybe it was on too late in previous years and never really connected. But whatever it was, we're in the business of building fan base and even serving the great fans we got, but also creating new fans. And I think the Cowboy Channel is doing it.
Yep, totally agree. You're listening to NFR Extra with our guest, Patrick Gotsch. Let's take a quick break.
In Las Vegas, December becomes Cowboy Town. The Wrangler National Finals Rodeo is the prize for the top contestants in the world seeking a share of the $10 million purse and the coveted gold buckle. For the fans, Las Vegas transforms into the greatest Western party in the world with the NFR experience featuring Cowboy Christmas, the Junior World Finals, non-stop entertainment, custom viewing parties, and so much more. Follow all the action at NFRExperience.com. There is only one NFR. There is only one Vegas.
Hi, my name is Brent Sutton. I'm with Sutton Rodeo and one of the NFR pickup men, and I'm joining you on NFR Extra.
NFR Extra with founder and president of the Cowboy Channel, Patrick Gotsch.
On the basis of fans and going to Las Vegas, you've got a new addition. It seems like you're a man that kind of takes a task that is seemingly difficult or impossible, and you add a lot to it. But also being the title sponsor of Cowboy Christmas, how's that all going to work out? You're going to have a lot of content.
I couldn't be more excited about anything that we've ever done. 12 years now, I've been going to Cowboy Christmas every year and just being so impressed with it, and the crowds there, and the exhibitors, and everything that's going on. And to have a chance to put our name on it or be associated with it is just something that we're really looking forward to. You're catching me. I just came out of a meeting with it. I mean, we're bringing on a new ad agency. We think this is a tremendous opportunity for the Cowboy Channel, of course, to spread the word about our channel and our programming and our app and everything else. But to have it, the Cowboy Channel, Cowboy Christmas is, something I'm really pinching myself about. We, as you know, we do the American Rodeo every year at AT&T Stadium. This past year was our 8th year. And I still pinch myself on Sunday morning when I'm walking up there and to AT&T Stadium and seeing the Cowboy Channel RFD-TV on the marquee. And how in the heck did this happen? It's a really proud day. So, I would anticipate that being associated with Cowboy Christmas, I'm going to have 10 of those days now where we're walking into that great convention center and and seeing the Cowboy Christmas. So I really appreciate the opportunity that Pat and Bo and everybody's given us here. It's going to be a great partnership, and we're going to bust our tails to even expand more. As we go through these summer rodeos to Calgary, to Cheyenne, to Reno, to Pendleton, to everywhere else that we're going. We want to spread the word about Vegas being open again, and our association with Cowboy Christmas. So I'm hoping we really show everybody at Las Vegas events that they've chosen a good partner.
Yeah, and when you think about what you were doing in Texas, I mean, the tricky part was everything was so spread out, right? Arlington was, where the NFR was, and then where Cowboy Christmas was, and then Junior World Finals. I mean, essentially, you have everything within a 4 or 5 mile radius where everything is right where you need it. How special is that for your production team to really gather as much content as you possibly can, right?
Well, yeah, and anybody that watched us last year, we did something different all day long. We were really live, like a Super Bowl broadcast for 10 hours, start to finish, where we were producing all kind of content. We had our Western Sports Roundup. We had a pre-show. We had the NFR. Then we had a post-show. Then we carried the go-around buckle ceremony. And then the big thing in the afternoon was our tailgate party, 3 hours of just really building momentum. So we're really looking forward to being in Vegas where we can really bring all this together, and then all the things that go on in Vegas that didn't happen.
What is in your DNA that brought you to creating the Cowboy Channel and the partnership with PRCA? I mean, clearly it's a no-brainer, but there's more to it for you than just the no-brainer part.
Well, Western Sports was just a part of RFD-TV. We did a little Western Sports, some clinicians, and carried some things. But, it really all started when Randy Bernard joined us in 2012. I give a lot of credit to Randy for anything we do with Western Sports. He said, we need to split off Western Sports and start our own channel. So we went out and bought a channel called Family Net, and it was our intention to turn that into the Cowboy Channel at that time. And we looked at, if you're going to start a football network, you want the NFR or the NFL. If a basketball network's got to have the NBA. So if we're going to start a Western Sports Network, we needed an anchor, a league, and of course we wanted to go after the PRCA. So we did go after it 6 years ago when Randy first started, and we made a bid for the rights, but we didn't get them. CBS got them again for another 6 years, which was really disappointing. But in a way, it's just like everything else in our company's history. It made us really buckle down and get in a better position for when the next time the rights would become available. So that's what we did for 6 years. We expanded the reach of the Cowboy Channel. We started doing more Western sports, and then we came in with both guns blazing for when the next PRCA opportunity came along. I think a lot of people think, maybe we are investing too much. But, from my perspective, and especially with what's going on with Cowboy Christmas and how we were able to double the audience last year, I think in the end, this will prove to be one of the greatest sports rights deals ever done. It's a natural partnership. We're not, rodeo's not sharing space on a sports channel with basketball and football and baseball and all the other good sports. They've got their own channel, develop their own fan base, and create something going on all along. Our biggest challenge is, and people kind of looked at me funny, we want to carry every rodeo in one way or another, either on the air on either RFD-TV or the Cowboy Channel, or have them on our app. And that's what we're set up to do. We're all in with rodeo, and the first year, even with COVID. I think we really, our team really proved themselves and how dedicated they were to this. I don't know if any other channel would have stuck with, going out to rodeos during COVID and trying to figure out a way to broadcast them. I think they would have pulled in their horns and stopped.
This is NFR Extra, and our guest today, Patrick Gotsch. We will return after the break. NFR Extra follows Cowboys, talks to legends and country stars, and finds the stories that make up the season that leads to the annual showdown in December. Follow me, Nevada Caldwell, Ryland Bentley, and Steve Goder as we delve deep into the stories in and behind the road to gold. Listen to NFR Extra on Rural Radio, channel 147 on Sirius XM every Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern, with a re-air Tuesday in the same time slot. NFR Extra, all dirt, all rodeo, all year.
Hey guys, I'm Nate Justice, 4-time NFR bullfighter from Douglas, Wyoming, and I'm joining you on NFR Extra.
Founder and president of RFD-TV, Patrick Gotsch, is here with us on NFR Extra. How has the vision changed through this time to where you're at now? I mean, is it still kind of that same core when you're, when Randy, you like this whole conversation of how it was birthed? Has that changed? Just like any other thing that you birth, right? Kids change; they become one thing, and then the next, and then they become teenagers. And where's that vision at now?
I don't want to mislead people like we got some great 5-year or 10-year plan. We're really making this up as we go along. We did with RFD-TV. The most exciting thing I think about the Cowboy Channel is how much Western sports are catching on. Not only in rodeo, but what's going on with breakaway roping and barrel racing and everything else that's out there, and all the great side pots and things that are going on. Our goal with the Cowboy Channel when we first started was really pretty simple. We wanted a channel devoted to Western sports, just like the other sports have their channel, just like there's a golf channel and a tennis channel and a basketball and a football channel, and do everything that they do. So the kind of programming they're carrying, it's anchored by live sports, and that's what we want to do each day. But doing retrospectives and doing talk shows and expanding into other sports and doing our own competitions too during the year. I mean, we're in the center of the Fort Worth Stockyards, which is really just exploding. Opened a new hotel last week called the Drover. Took over the Coliseum. We're set up there now where it's almost like a South Point, where we can be producing and broadcasting events almost on a daily basis for even more content. So again, one of your earlier questions, a lot of the ideas are coming in from people, from viewers. How about doing this? Love what you're doing, but why don't you do this? I mean, the audience is so polite and respectful. It's just, it's really something to see. So, going forward, live PRCA broadcasts, live events. We've been doing some horse racing from Rio Doso Downs and things like that haven't been carried. So we're just going to keep trying to expand and improve Western sport.
You were talking just there about, maybe people thinking that you're investing too much for this whole deal, but you look at also what the American is and how you said, you have that pride of walking up to the AT&T and seeing RFD-TV's American. That being a prime example, how high can that bar be set for the American?
Well, it's for the first year, this year, nobody won the $1 million. So it's going to be interesting next year. We carry that over. So next year it'll be at least a $3 million rodeo, and there'll be a $2 million pot available for, one of the non-top 10 to win. So we'll find out next year. As you know, Randy Bernard, his brain's always turning. So, who knows what he's going to come up with next. But again, I'm really proud. We're proud to do those. I think we can do things that other television networks or entities don't do. We're family owned. We're family owned because no one would invest in us 20 years ago when we first started. So it's just myself and my 3 daughters, and we're not in this to sell out to anybody. We feel that there needs to be a network for agriculture and a network for Western sports. And our goal is just to carry this as far as we can. We don't have any shareholders that we got to please, so we can take, a few more chances than anyone else. But, quite frankly, every chance that we've taken has proven to be a good move. So we'll keep doing it till we make a mistake, I guess.
You're like the Gottsch band that owns your own label, right? And you get to kind of just navigate your ship, man. That's awesome.
Well, it's fun to come to work, wake up in the morning. I hate going to bed at night. This is a fun deal. It was a struggle when we first started in the first 10 years, but now we got a little money and we're getting great partners. We got great partners at the PRCA. We got great partners with Las Vegas events and Cowboy Christmas. I was just at a fishing the last 2 days in the Florida Keys with Johnny Morris at Bass Pro and Richard Childress at Childress Racing. I look around and think, man, why would we ever want to get out of this business? This is meeting just great people and who knows how far it can go? I don't. But we're going to find out. That is our one goal, to reach our full potential. And that's what I tell everybody here, that we're just going to keep stretching and stretching until we reach our full potential. I don't think we're anywhere near where we can take this. Part of it's going to be if we can get, eventually we need to get some good sponsors on board with us. We're announcing one today. We've got a new partnership with Justin Boots here in Fort Worth. So, but we're hoping to expand this into more. We need to get more consumer type products interested in reaching this audience. All the iconic ones, Wrangler and Dodge Ram and Justin and everybody. They've done a tremendous job supporting rodeo for many, many, many years. But to really grow it, I think we definitely need to bring in, some new blood into this.
Last break before we close out our conversation with Patrick Gotsch.
Welcome to NFR 360, where the NFR experience comes to life. This portal transports you to an immersive visual experience, encapsulating the stories and history of the NFR experience. NFR 360 is a collection of newly produced and historical digital content filled with stories about current and legendary contestants, the inside scoop on all the elements of how you experience the National Finals Rodeo, and inside tips that will improve your experience during the NFR 365 days a year.
Kobe Lovell, world champion team roper, joining y'all on NFR Extra.
Patrick Gotsch is here on NFR Extra.
You mentioned Calgary, Cheyenne, Reno, and Pendleton. Yeah. We're getting ready to kick off Red Bluff, Yuma, Clovis, Guyman. Are those a few other rodeos you'll be broadcasting this year?
Yeah, everyone's going to be on. Again, it's either going to be on the Cowboy Channel. What we learned last year, when we had 2 or 3 rodeos going on at one time, we learned that people didn't like jumping around. They didn't like going from Ute, Montana to Rapid City or something like that. So what we're doing this year is each night we're having a featured rodeo. So the featured rodeo is going to be on at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central Time. And then hopefully we got a West Coast rodeo for later in the night, or we'll time shift it. But like 4th of July, there's something like 15 rodeos going on at pretty much that week. We're going to carry the rodeos one way or another. They all come into our Fort Worth studios, and then we can choose to put them on the air live on the Cowboy Channel, over on RFD-TV, or put them down on the app, or just record them so we can have highlights for our sports center type show, the Western Sports Roundup each night. So again, I think one of the keys for us making this a financial success to us has always been that we need to get as much of this content that we can and then figure out how to use it. The app's been going terrific. I'm really proud of the app and how many subscribers it's attracted, and all the people that bought the NFR last year. It kind of woke me up where on what the possibilities are out there. So we're going to put a lot of and people with the app, they've got the choice to watch whatever rodeo they want on us. You know, if they want to watch, you know, one of the other ones that isn't on live on the Cowboy Channel, we got the arena feed going from that rodeo, which is another thing that the audience brought up. I mean, I got a lot of pressure from everybody. No, you got to have a anchor on site and a team on site to do the rodeo. Most people want to hear the arena announcer. And I like that too, because if we're going to carry 100, 150 rodeos a year, I want people to kind of travel around the country and really get a feel like they're sitting in the stands and watching that rodeo on site and get to see their opening ceremonies, get to see how they handle the prayer and the national anthem, get to see what other events that they have during their rodeo. Also got a lot of pushback. Well, you can't, you know, what are you carrying mutton busting for? The craft scramble. That's part of that rodeo. And that's part of the job that rodeo does to support their community. So we want to give those folks as much exposure as we can get. And it's proven to be true. People want the arena feed. They want to sit there and they don't want to miss anything that goes on in the rodeo. So that's the way we're broadcasting this year. So we'll to answer your question, we'll time shift some rodeos, you know, that really need to get on the network and try to give as much exposure as we can.
Sounds like a couple things too, though. This just going off of me being a geek on all this content world that you're able to gather through your mobile phone, iPad, whatever, app driven, right, and being connected to the internet. But it sounds like knowing that rodeos, we're seeing this, you know, in any environment, things are changing. Oh my goodness, the rodeo was in July, but no, it's going to be in August. What's nice for you and what you learned last year, just correct me if I'm wrong, but you can mold around that moment, get ready to broadcast, use all your tools that you have, bam, let people know within a week, we're covering this rodeo even though it changed. The other part is, I don't think this was happening before. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, but you couldn't go back and watch, like prior to Cowboy Channel covering with this deal with PRCA, you can go back and watch other rodeos, like where Tim Connell just busted out this 94-point ride.
Right.
You weren't going to get that anywhere. You just had to read about it, right? Or something like that, or a picture.
Yeah, and last week we carried the Riggin rally. You know, things like that have never been carried. And that's the challenge. You know, technology's our friend. You guys say you're geeks. So, you know, we couldn't have done this 10 years ago, or probably even 5 years ago. But, you know, with the internet, what's going on and the new equipment and people getting more skilled at doing these rodeos, you know, we're getting more and more and more. We're making some mistakes or having some issues with some rodeos that are, you know, maybe got some bad cameras or things, but everybody's just being so cooperative. And if we can help that rodeo point out a problem or say, we need to do this or do that or add another camera for tomorrow's broadcast, they've been just so supportive. I love working with these guys.
Oh, that's cool.
I do want to throw it out there for everyone who is listening. That is the Cowboy Channel Plus app.
Yeah.
Before I change the subject, how is life on the Imus Ranch? Is that how you say it, the Imus Ranch?
Well, I'm really going to find out this summer. I haven't been able to spend too much time out there the last couple of years, but as a family, we've already made the commitment that we're basically going to stay out there all summer. I've got a 7-year-old daughter, and she's going to learn how to muck stalls and ride a horse and everything. So, you know, we got shut down last year. The Imus Ranch is really set up to do a lot of things. We can produce programming out there, got a big arena. There's 6,600 acres. 30 miles of trails going through there. We want to start doing a lot of things, maybe even do some schools out there for a rodeo. We've got the ability to house 40 people at a time. So it's kind of been sitting on idle, but ask me this question if we do a third interview, and I'll tell you, but I'm really looking forward to it. We want to bring a lot of people out there and have them enjoy it. We got a shooting range there now, both for shotgun and for rifle. We've got a bunch of ATVs. We're getting some better horses this year. So it's fun. Let me invite the three of you out. Come on out anytime.
Oh, we're in.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Fun talking to you, man. And we will definitely have you on a third time. We got to have you on as we get closer to Vegas and paint a bigger picture of what's going on there, because I know fans will want to know what Cowboy Channel is up to as we head towards Vegas.
I love what you guys do. And I mean, we're all raising the tide. I'd love to see the attention now that Western sports are getting. Really looking forward to Vegas later on this year, and we're really trying to build momentum up to that. And then, again, the Cowboy Channel, Cowboy Christmas is going to be a real special day for me and my family and everybody associated with our channel.
You're here, man. Well, thank you, sir.
Thank you, and thanks to you guys too for making this all possible.
Yeah, all good.
It's gonna be awesome, man. That's the Cowboy Christmas and the Cowboy Channel. We got 3 Bs on the show, and we'll have 4 Cs in Vegas, so that's gonna be pretty cool.
We'll try not to mess it up for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
All good. Well, thank you, sir.
Thank you,
guys. Thank you for your interest, and look forward to talking to you real soon.
Have a great day.
All right, Patrick.
Thank you.
All right, Desperados, last call.
I haven't been this excited for 21 since I myself was 20, because all of this just...
It is last call. The only problem is we're sober.
Exactly. Let's do this.
All right.
All right, friends, this is Steve Gottsch joining me right now, my good buddy, Andy Seiler. What's shaking, my man? You know, like summertime, when you're going to those spring and summertime rodeos, or you're going to like a spring branding, it's got to feel, you know what I mean? Like,
sure.
It's a big change. Springtime, the weather's changing, the grass is greening up. Everybody's kind of got cabin fever. Winter rodeos are over, getting on the road, going down, doing that. Then, summertime, you're kind of in the groove. You're kind of, man, let's go. We're going. Whatever it is that you're doing that. But the weird thing is, like, to me, is December in Las Vegas. Because it's one of those things, like, you should be kind of gearing down, getting ready for winter. We live in a colder climate here in Montana, obviously. Mm-hmm. But man, there's something about Vegas when you are like ready for that. It's just like, that's like, we're going. And so driving in and seeing the bright lights of Las Vegas is one of my most favorite things in December, because
it's usually a dead time for like cab drivers and people like that too. So they're so happy to see you, because they know if the rodeo's not there, they go from Thanksgiving to Christmas with nothing. So it seems like everybody's in a really good mood and they're really receptive. And to me, coming from a wetter, more humid climate, going out there, even if it's cold, it's a crisp night, and
dry.
There's so much energy around there that, I mean, honestly, for me, when me and my wife go to Vegas, the thing that I like doing the most is going to a nice dinner, and there's some places that I've been that I love going to, and it creates a memory, because, hey, it's me and my bride, and we've got days in front of us where the world is our oyster, and we get to enjoy this together because we plan our year around going to Vegas. She sets her budget aside to go shopping. I set my budget aside to roll some dice. So that's, I mean, and don't get me wrong, there are great places to eat a steak, to enjoy a nice glass of wine. But for me, for this guy, there is no feeling better than rolling the bones down on the craps table and getting on a heater. That right there, that's my vixen.
I cannot disagree with you at even a little bit, because that is one of the greatest things, is getting there. It's like, should we, are we going to, I know it's 9 a.m, but I'm telling you, them snake eyes is looking at me.
You know, it's crazy though, because there's a lot of people that love going to the rodeo every night. And I have no problem with that. I've seen lots of older couples that have been doing it for 30 years. They've got jackets from the 90s that they, stagger out, and different outfits that they wear. Some of them go to all 10 performances. But the thing that I like about Vegas is obviously I love that the rodeo's there, but I just like that you have so many options, and next year you're going to have an NFL football team there. So you can literally go there for 4 nights and see a hockey game, a football game, the rodeo. You can go shopping, see a show. Like, you can literally package all this stuff into one place, and you can't get that anywhere else in December.
Yeah. And you know what? You said something just a second ago as far as like the experience that you have with somebody. I have ties with Las Vegas because my wife and I got married in Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. And our daughter, her birthday is on our anniversary. So like we have that, we always go out, but we always go to one particular steakhouse on that night. And that's like, you look for, we're going to go there. You're looking forward to that one time. So it's not only the place that you go, it's the people that you're with. Does that make any sense? Like, you can go to one place 100 different times. You can go there 100 times, but it's like, man, totally different when I went there, with this person or with that person. Like, when we went to Michael's Steakhouse there at South Point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that was like, whoa, that was an intense experience, because that was the first time I'd ever, been to Michael's. You hear a lot about it. And it's like, oh man, it's such just a cool ambiance on that. And the thing I like about Las Vegas too, you can get all of the fresh, brand new, whatever's the most hip place that there is, but also Las Vegas has a lot of that nostalgia sort of stuff. Like, another place that I've never been to that I want to go to is the Golden Steer.
Yeah.
I've heard nothing but great stuff about, and it's like, man, how cool to go where there's so much history there and check that out. So,
well, it's funny you say that, because obviously we got to enjoy that dinner with my parents, and I've done some other stuff with family members, and thankfully they're all still here. But one of the steakhouses I went to with all of my family and my grandparents, my mom's parents, they're now in their mid to late 80s, and I don't know if they'll ever make it back to Vegas. So you're right. There are impressions that you get when you're out there. People are looser, they're ready to have a good time because they understand that's what Vegas is all about. So, I think there are memories that I have from different impressions that will keep me coming back, just because, I have that with my family.
One of the great things about Las Vegas as well is that when you do find that table with the heater on it and she starts to cool down, you can gather up your belongings, your common sense, whatever it is, and you can find a place to eat anytime.
Yeah.
11 o'clock, things don't shut down. Midnight, 1, 2.
Yeah.
Hey, bud. And you can get a legit meal, typically on the cheap, in a restaurant.
Sushi at 3 a.m. can sometimes be a really, really good decision.
And sometimes a really, really bad one.
Well, if you're getting it from a gas station, you just have to make sure you're getting it from a reputable place.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. This thing too is like the withdrawals of a year of not going to Las Vegas. I'm more excited this year than I've been for a long, long time.
Well, and one thing that we haven't really talked about at all, but I think is a huge thing for Vegas, and it's really smart. Obviously, going to the rodeo is great, but just like March Madness, these watch parties, it makes it to where if you can't make it there every night, or you want to do something different, you just want to watch a few events, you can do it at so many different hotels. So they've got this figured out. And that's the part to me that's so exciting, is you can spread everybody all over town, but they can still be part of that cowboy atmosphere because of how they have it set up.
Well, and how many of those viewing parties that you're talking about too, it's like a huge, it's not just sit down around a little small table.
Yeah.
They're giving away jackets. Nice leather jackets. They're giving away a ton of prizes. They're giving away tickets to the rodeo. They're giving away all this sort of stuff to where you can go there. And like you said, maybe I don't want to go to the rodeo tonight. I'm going to go here and check this out. I've been to probably, I don't know, not a whole lot, probably 5 or 6 different properties that had their viewing parties there. Never once have I been disappointed. Never one time.
Yeah.
And that's, you're sitting there on like a 40 by 20 screen watching the deal. And some of those places, like you can go find some little hotel that's got the viewing party and it's, hey, go grab a cocktail, go grab a whatever, come back, enjoy the rodeo right there. So no, it has so much to offer on that. And like you said, Andy, those viewing parties have become absolutely insane on how popular they've become.
No, for sure.
We want to thank Patrick Gotsch for visiting us on NFR Extra.
Want to experience more of NFR? Then visit NFRexperience.com. And we invite you to subscribe to NFR Extra on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you're listening right now. If you like what you've heard on NFR Extra, we would love it if you gave us a big 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe.
NFR Extra.
All dirt.
All rodeo.
All year.
Gotta make it out to Vegas, where the big boys roam, with the rovers and the racers and the bulls and the broncs, and the ladies in the skin-tight wranglers and the cowboy hats.